Well, sometimes you just have one of those months where not everything goes according to plan. Welcome back to the channel, Book Dragons. It's time for my monthly update. Now before we get started, please make sure to like the video, subscribe to my channel, join my Discord if you so choose. I would love to have you a part of that community as well. And now that that's all said, let's get right to it. This is kind of a disappointing monthly update because I only read 2 books in June. The only 2 books I read in June were Ship of Magic by Robin Hobb and Postern of Fate by Agatha Christie. And they were both excellent. Really enjoyed the books. I have to say that Ship of Magic is now my favorite book of 2023 so far. It was Legends and Lattes, but now it's Ship of Magic. So it was an absolutely magnificent book on all counts. What an awesome story that Robin Hobb created there. I will have a full review coming out for that, so you can look for that in the future here. And I already did do a series review for the Tommy and Tuppence Mysteries by Agatha Christie, of which Postern of Fate is the last book in the series. So if you want to check that out, I will link that in the end cards at the end of the video. If you're into Agatha Christie or you like mystery books and you want to know what Agatha Christie is all about, Tommy and Tuppence is a great place to start with Agatha Christie, in my personal opinion. I had planned to read Piranesi, I had planned to read The Liar's Knot by M.A. Carrick, and I had planned to read The Prophet of Adan by Philip Chase. And I did start The Prophet of Adan and The Liar's Knot. I just did not finish them. So, crazy month, guys. And part of that is because I got into a reading slump. But I think the reading slump was precipitated by the fact that I had an enormous book hangover after I finished Ship of Magic. Ship of Magic was just that good that I had a serious book hangover, and I was like, maybe subconsciously I was like, how can I top that? And so I just didn't have any motivation to read anymore for the month. And that's a bummer because I'm really enjoying The Prophet of Adan so far, and I'm really enjoying The Liar's Knot. So I will finish those. Let's talk about what I watched in June. At the top of that list is Across the Spider-Verse. That is the new animated Spider-Verse movie, the sequel to Into the Spider-Verse. It was so good, guys. One of the best movies I have seen this year. Just absolutely fantastic. Blew me away. That is literally one of the best Spider-Man series out there. I highly encourage you to see it if you have not. And also, Father's Day happened in June, and so Father's Day is one of those days that I get to pick a movie to watch. And last year, for either my birthday or Father's Day, I can't remember which, my kids and I watched John Wick Chapter 1 together. So this time around, we watched John Wick Chapter 2. And just an absolutely magnificent movie. None of the John Wick movies are mediocre movies. They all are top-notch thrill rides. So yeah, we had a blast watching that. We also finished Kaleidoscope, which is the Netflix original heist series. We watched Boba Fett together and finished that out with our friend Ian. And we started watching Season 3 of The Mandalorian, which is just so good. Some of the new Star Wars content that's been put out is just absolutely top notch, in my personal opinion. Not everybody feels that way, but I do. And then we also watched the original Batman movie together. My kids have never seen the original Batman movie with Michael Keaton and Jack Nicholson as the Joker. I know. As a parent, I've done my kids a great disservice by never showing them that movie. So I remedied that, and they absolutely loved it. My daughter especially really enjoyed it, which is cool because she's not super into Batman, but she really enjoyed it. So I'm so glad we got to watch that. I also continued watching Downton Abbey. I'm almost to the end of season 2, I think, and I'm just absolutely adoring that show. My kids and I started watching season 2 of Vinland Saga as well. If you're not familiar with Vinland Saga, it is an anime series based on a manga series that is Norse and Viking inspired, and it is so good. One of my favorite animes out there right now. And speaking of anime, my son and I watched Cowboy Bebop together, and it's absolutely amazing. Such a great anime show. So I highly recommend that you check that one out too if you have not. As far as gaming goes in June, I played some video games, which is fairly rare for me, but it's getting less rare, I guess we'll say. I have been playing Slay the Spire on a fairly regular basis. It's a battle card game similar to Magic the Gathering, and you know, you're going through these dungeons fighting monsters, and depending on what cards you draw in your deck, they have different effects that you can play against the monsters that you're fighting, and it's such a fun game. I highly recommend it. And I also started playing Jedi Fallen Order. No, not Jedi Outcast. You heard me right. Jedi Fallen Order. I am that behind. I know the sequel is already out, but I have never played Fallen Order yet. So I started playing Jedi Fallen Order, and it really is as good as everybody says. I've been thoroughly enjoying myself. So let's talk Chasm Friends. I had 2 amazing guests on Chasm Friends in June. One was Adam Rodriguez from The Art of R, and he was absolutely an amazing guest. A wonderful artist and music connoisseur, and just a fantastic individual. If you have not checked out his channel, I highly recommend doing so. I will leave a link to his channel down below, and make sure and go back and watch that episode of Chasm Friends. And I also had Erin from the channel Sabriel's Bell on the channel, and she was an absolute blast to talk to. And I'm so happy I could have her on, and she is one of those channels that you just absolutely need to check out as well. So please find the link to her channel in the description below and go check her out, go subscribe. I am so happy that I was finally able to get both of these awesome people on the channel. So that's a quick wrap up for June. Let's talk about what I plan to do in July. And that's pretty easy. I've already got 2 books that are definite that I'm going to read in July. And that's the books that I did not finish in June. And that would be, number 1, The Prophet of Edan by Philip Chase. So I do plan to finish that one. And I also plan to finish The Liar's Knot by M.A. Carrick. This is the second book in the Rook and Rose trilogy. The final book is supposed to come out in August, I believe. And I've been buddy reading this with my friend Angie over at Angie the Bookaholic. So go check out her channel as well. And I've had to message her and say, hey, you know, I'm sorry, I did not finish the book this month. Let's continue it into July. And so that is definitely on the table. I will also be reading Secret Project number 3 by Brandon Sanderson. So that is a given. Every time there's a new one released, I try to read it as soon as possible, so that I can avoid spoilers and stuff like that. So that is definitely on the docket. And then I am also planning to read Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Ames. This is my friend Alyssa's favorite book. Her channel is Into the Heart Wild, which is a callback to Kings of the Wild, apparently. And make sure to check out her channel as well. I will leave it in the description below. But I promised her that I would be reading her favorite book this month. So I do plan to read that in July. If I have space left over at the end of the month, which based on how this month went, I'm kind of doubtful of. But if I have room at the end of the month, I'm hoping at the very least to pick up Piranesi by Susanna Clarke. And I've also been wanting to read The Darkness That Comes Before by R. Scott Baker. And I was initially planning to read that in July, but then my books from June got pushed into July, so I've put that one on the back burner. But if I have time to get to it, I will. And I was also planning to read another Agatha Christie book with my friend Mona Lisa Reads. I'll leave her channel down below as well. She and I buddy read Postern of Fate together, and so we were going to read And Then There Were None in July, but I don't know if that's going to happen. So we'll have to see how that works out. So those are 3 maybes for July. So now let's talk about what I want to watch in July. And there's a lot of shows I want to watch in July. I'm definitely going to be continuing to watch The Mandalorian. I'm going to continue watching Downton Abbey. I'm also going to continue watching Vinland Saga with my kids. And then there's some new shows coming out in July that I'm really excited to watch. One of which is, of course, Good Omens Season 2. I can't wait to see what the new season brings, what kind of story it brings, because the first season pretty much completed the book. So it'll be interesting to see where this show goes with new material that's taken from some of Terry Pratchett and Neil Gaiman's notes, as well as some additional material that was scripted by Neil. So such an exciting prospect to see some new material there. I'm also looking forward to watching Dragon Prince Season 5. It does come out in July. I don't know if I'm going to get to watch it in July. We'll just have to see how things go, because that is a show that my daughter and I normally watch together. My son's not really interested in it, and right now while he's home for the summer, we're kind of focusing on shows that we all enjoy watching together. So we'll see how that goes. I might not get to Dragon Prince in July, but it's a definite maybe. I'm also hoping we can start watching Secret Invasion. That's the new Marvel series with Nick Fury. And then there's a new docuseries that I'm really excited about coming to BritBox. And that is called Alan Clark's Adventures with Agatha Christie. It's a documentary about this guy named Alan Clark, who is a huge Agatha Christie fan. And he goes on a journey of exploration into the life and inspirations behind some of Agatha Christie's most iconic characters and locations and things like that. So I'm really excited to see it. I just barely got the email announcement about it the other day, and I'm like, oh my god! And I'm a huge Agatha Christie fan, so I can't not watch it, right? So yeah, that's very exciting. And as far as gaming in July, I do plan to continue playing Slay the Spire. I will most likely continue playing Jedi Fallen Order as well, and maybe another occasional game here or there. We'll see how that goes. But those are all of my plans for July. So I hope you guys have really enjoyed this video. Let me know how your June went. Let me know what you're planning to do in July. And until next time, guys, make sure you're reading more books. I'll talk with you soon.